Happy April 22nd. Welcome to TGL. My name is Grindhead Jim. We're going to talk about collecting and stuff that relates to that. So, good to see everyone here. I know some of you may have seen me over on Salacious Rum's channel earlier today. Those of you that did are going to get a nice double dose of the grind. If you haven't, go check that out. That was actually a really fun conversation. And there will be future collaborations between us if I have anything to say about it. For those of you that are here, I see Johnny Sorensen, Ian Sweeney, Jason Garcia, Billy Wifta himself, Joe DeBecky. I said Ian Sweeney already, didn't I? Yes, I did. Turn up my mic. Okay. There. Now, I'll double check my actual level here. But yeah, jumping in from work, leaving in 10. Okay, Badger's here. Yeah, Ian, I'll talk about here in just a second. I want to make sure that my computer side level is fine, which I thought it was. It is not. Now we should be good. We should probably be great, actually. So thank you for that. I did not realize it had gotten turned down. I had my settings in StreamYard, and it totally screwed me up. Anyway, Clamato. It is a horrible thing, tomato-based something, that some people in some areas of this country think that mixing it with beer is just a great thing to do. It's horrendous. It's awful. And I don't like it. So, that's all there is to that. So, today's show is about loyalty. And you know me, I'm always going to go a bit deeper than you might think, and we will get to that. We do have some pre-orders and some currently availables to go over today. We're going to do that, and then we'll move on. There may not be a panel today, and there's two reasons for it. One, I'm a little tired, and two, I kind of feel like this could be a two-parter. So depending on how the discussion goes, there may or may not be a panel tonight. Regardless of whether or not there is, after the show, please hop over to Largo's Lair for a new episode of the Infinite Playlist, which is pinned at the top of our chat. So, Zombies in the house says, watching for more, dropping out like, thank you. Appreciate you. I haven't seen you in a long time. Miss you. I will not hop on one foot. Andy's in the house. Keith is here. Welcome, my friend. Good to see you. So let's get right into some of these pre-orders and currently availables. Oh, Greedo in a Speedo. Swelling that genitalia, are we? Put the salve on if you need to. But just welcome to the show and thank you for the subscription. In fact, let me thank a few people for some new subscriptions because of having appeared on that show, which was, of course, you always hope that will happen. Dark Lycan 81, Greedo in a Speedo, Brian Myers, Excelsior's Domain, and Mod Extra, Games and Collectibles for the subscriptions. Thank you all. Thank you very much. It means a lot. So, always. Yeah, I get it. So, Ricky in the house too as well. Okay, great. Awesome. Love to see you guys here. So, pre-orders. Some of you will know this movie, some of you will not. Team America World Police. It's a great send-up of American politics and military and Hollywood by the guys that did South Park. One of my favorite movies just went up for pre-order on 4K, which comes with a Blu-ray and a digital copy as well. $26. It is well worth it. It has all the special features the previous releases had. Nothing new that I can see. But just to have that, which is, it was filmed on film, all practical effects for the most part. I think it's worth the upgrade to see it, in all of its dopey glory. So just be aware. It's up there. It's out there. Give it a grab. All right? Give it a try. Give it a try. Getting into toys. We've got the Deadpool Marvel Legends Legacy Collection Deadpool. I pre-ordered this because it was up for pre-order, then it went away. Now it's back. This is based on the Deadpool 2 costume. And if you got to have a movie-accurate Deadpool, you can hardly do worse. This is a great figure. Plus, it comes with a little unicorn. Honestly, I kind of want the unicorn more than anything else. But I want an MCU Deadpool now that he is in the MCU, and this is the right way to get it. So if you missed it when they supposedly went up last week, it is back. You can pre-order it. You'll be good. Check in with you guys here for a second. Woman of Cardboard's here. Welcome. Says, I'm still at work. Watch paint colors photorealistically render. Fun times. Matt Damon. That's right. America, fuck yeah. Yeah, I love that movie. Matt Damon. That's right. That's right. And of course, Carl with the family-friendly version. Matt Damon, Matt Damon. Yes, I totally agree. Totally agree. Yes, Goji, that movie was a nightmare to make. Lots of tangled strings. And the thing is, what the funniest part is, like, what I thought was designed to be, like, ridiculous. Well, it was. They actually wanted the marionettes to do, like, full-blown kung fu and whatnot. And they're like, we can't do that. So what came out was purely out of practicality, but was insanely hilarious. The first fight scene in that movie, I almost lost consciousness from a lack of oxygen because I was laughing so hard. It's a great one. Yes, get that Deadpool pre-order in. It's worth it. Johnny says it's a great fig, great reissue. I agree. I've seen these in person before. I knew I needed one, so I grabbed them. Yes, the new Deadpool and Wolverine trailer was very nice. I normally hate trailers, but I felt I kind of had to watch it because people were going to ask me about it. They're clearly doing something with regard to the multiverse, and that Deadpool is somehow going to usher in certain characters and aspects of characters or something. What that means, I'm not sure, but I have a feeling it's going to be really good. And at the very least, it'll be very funny. So, Basketball is good. Orgasmo, we watch that pretty regularly in this house. We love Orgasmo. There is no escaping us, Orgasmo. Love that. Love it, love it, love it. Yeah, the opening scene of that is worth the price of admission alone. The rest of it's funny too, but that beginning is just, so good. It's so good. So getting back to the pre-orders, we have that Deadpool. Get it while you can over to the Big Bad Toy Store. So these are interesting. These are model kits for Godzilla. This is a Destroy All Monsters, old school, Showa era Godzilla. It's unpainted. $114. I don't do model kits, but I liked how accurate this sculpt was. So if it's something you're into, you might want to get on it. From the same line, same scale, we have a GV King Ghidorah middle size. This is the Heisei era version of that for $114. Again, not for me, but again, the sculpts are so pretty. I wanted to get a look at them. And then finally, we have the Godzilla vs. Destroyer. The Destroyer. Same thing. Looks great. Not my thing. But again, worth a look. This is what they call an 8-inch art figure. Meaning he doesn't do shit. He just stands there. And it's a towel inside of plastic. So it's a real fabric. And it is a towelie eating a burger, a Tegrity burger, high off his ass. Were the price not nearly this high, if it were half the price, we would get it, and I'd put him on the mantle. but it's one of those random things you don't really see that often, and it doesn't scale with anything else. So I don't know. Badger says, marionettes. Maybe we'll get a Team America 2 Return of the Giant Claw. I mean, we could. Geek Strong in the house. Nice to see you. So big. Hi, iViper. Welcome from YouTube to Twitch. Actually, I'm on Twitch as well, so it's a little confusing. But Viper, hi. No worries, TJC. I thought I was already subbed over there, and I'm pretty sure that I was, but for some reason it went away. So I had to correct it, get it back. So thank you. Thank you. Stephen S. wants a Megalon model kit. Need to get the horn with them about that. I mean, you know, I'll work on it. I just don't know how much they're going to listen to me. I don't know. But I might. So moving on from Towley. A lot of you guys are going to like this. This is a quarter scale statue of Cammy doing a powerlifting pose. They have it in 3 different outfits. And it's $665. Now, quarter scale means she's probably about that big, if anything, right? But if you're in the gym and you can squint, you can imagine that she's working out with you in just the way you like, okay? This is not for me. It's not even close to being for me. But all the people that made a fuss with Last of Us 2 and Strong Women have never played Street Fighter and don't understand the following that Cammy has in the nerd masturbation continuum. But I saw that and I thought it was hilarious, so I wanted to let you guys know what's up. And Carl is exactly right, saying, okay, that statue addresses a very specific fetish. Yes, it does. It really does. But it's not for me, that is for sure. But it looks nice and it is pretty. Now, you guys know I'm not a big Super 7 fan. I am not a big reaction figure fan at all. I'm not even that big of a Willow fan. But I know there are people out there that are. And they are allowing you to pre-order 5 or 6 figures from that line. So all your main characters, basically. And it was originally going to cost you $120. It's down to $47, $48. And you'll get it next month. So if you wanted a quick 3 3/4 inch scale figure set of Willow from Reaction, you can get it pretty damn cheap for what it is. Again, this is not up my alley, but I saw it and I said someone out there might bite this with this price. Because if you display carded, Reaction, that's the only way to display them, because I think they're ridiculous otherwise. But for less than $10 a figure, I'd say that's not bad for what these are. So there you go. Pre-order that while you can. Now we get into stuff that is currently available. This is the 30th anniversary Hellspawn figure, which, you know, it's Spawn. I love the paint deco on it. It looks good. I'm actually pretty surprised with how good that looks. I'm a little bit more drawn to this Spawn 311 version where Al Simmons has his face again. Looks very cool. And for as high a quality a sculpt as these are, if you're a Spawn fan, for these prices, it's like, look, you can get whatever Spawn you want and have it look great. And when they came in, I was just like, let me look at those again. Let me get a second look at these. So, also just in stock here is a reissue of Pandora from Action Force. There's a couple minor details that are changed in terms of her paint deco. Otherwise, she's pretty much identical. So they're showing you right here, which is great. She has a fashion patch right here. Her pants are darker, the boots are darker, and the armor is darker. So the only major change is that she does have a little patch on her vest. Now, variant hounds out there are going to be buying this thing in droves. I will not. As much as I like that change, it is not $30 worth of a change. And you know, if it's a speculatory market thing, I don't know which one of those would be worth more, because if you have the original one versus the variant, and which one are they making in more quantities, I don't know. And I've stopped trying to guess with Valaverse. I don't think that they're making them for that purpose. I think they're just trying to do some cool things and make sure that the figure ends up in people's hands while still respecting the folks that bought it early in the first place. So I think Valaverse is on the right track here, doing everything the right way. You know, they'll get no criticism from me. No criticism from me. I'm checking with chat here for a second. Squigs! What's up, man? Something might be up for this weekend with Canifivore. Good things. Give me a text after the show. Love your face. Bleh. Love your face. Bleh. I don't see anything else. Okay. So this is something I didn't even realize existed. I probably covered the pre-order at some point, but I don't recall doing that. This is a Trick or Treat Studios. Essentially, it's a remake of the Playmates Toxic Crusader figure. I don't know if they have any other characters ready to go, but if you really like Toxie, you know, he's there. It's $20. That ain't horrible. Maybe pick him up. Oh, hey, Largo. I see you there. This came in. I had this on pre-order, and given that the Playmates Voltron is starting to show up at Target, and that's the one that I'm after. This mini Voltron only stands about 7 inches. I couldn't justify the price when I can get a nice big honking Voltron for $100. So I did not go through with this. But if this is something you want, I mean, this is a good vehicle Voltron for a good price. So it's worth it. Johnny says that he has that Toxie. He is very good. Goji says it has some nice packaging. There you go. So it might be a good display piece for somebody. Maybe doesn't have that. So the whole Superpowers wave containing Brainiac and the Brainiac ship are in. Those are the only two that I picked up. But you got the Brainiac ship and the Brainiac are there. Those are probably the most sought after figures in that wave. The Beetle Mobile, the Blue Beetle thing is still there too. So it's there. So if you're a Superpowers person, they are there. They are ready to go. Mine are sitting in my pile of loot. And then last, but certainly not least, we have a Shin Godzilla, Omega Beast Series Shin Godzilla 4th Form Translucent Red Color variant. Limited edition statue by Izobi for $1,289.99. He's a whole 20 inches tall, folks. That's less than $100 an inch. Yeah, I don't want it either. But I had to show you. I was looking at all that Godzilla stuff. I saw that and I'm like, well, if I don't show this off, I'm a bad man. Because it's an overpriced statue and it's an overpriced Godzilla statue. So, you know, I kind of figured you guys would want me to show that. So that's where we're at. But get you that Team America 4K, get you that Deadpool, you know. One minute cardboard says, I always liked Vehicle Voltron, but that version has parts you need to remove to add it to get to combine. I was interested until I saw that. Yes, that particular one is a bit weird. And yes, you can definitely die a rug. Die a rug. I see what you're doing. That's what she said. It's a spicy meatball. And yes, if you would, please hit the like. Melvor, welcome to the show. Good to see you, my friend. No. Yes, yeah, we got the Team America 4K. I didn't know they did bigger, longer, uncut on 4K. I might do that. But with animation, it doesn't really matter to me. I already have the DVD and like, it's whatever. But for something that was actually filmed on film and not drawn on a computer, then put on film in Team America, I thought that was extremely important. At least for me. So today's show is entitled Loyalty, and in the description I talk about brand loyalty. And I'm not just talking about the manufacturers, but these properties that we surround ourselves with. And what that can mean. So I'm going to talk mainly from myself, where I come from on certain things, and maybe a little bit of what I see in others, and we'll see where the conversation goes from there. Okay? Gotta get some water too. Part of the reason that I am tired is because I had a very large sandwich for dinner. In Chicago and also in other parts of the Northeast, there's a style of sandwich called the Italian beef sandwich. Okay? Italian beef in Pennsylvania and the tri-state is different than what you'll get in the Midwest and Chicago in particular. The beef in Chicago is shaved, where the beef on the Northeast is shredded. So very different. But at the same time, they have very similar qualities. And Portillo's is a chain of restaurants in the Chicago area that have kind of not, I wouldn't say perfected, but distilled the Italian beef sandwich in Chicago down to its most essential parts and mastered that version of that sandwich, along with some other really great Chicago dishes, and have managed to make a really good business out of it. Found out last week that they opened one about 3 miles away. I haven't had an Italian beef sandwich from anyone in over 13 years. So today, when I had time in between shows, I was like, I'm going to get me an Italian beef sandwich. So I did. It was very good. I'm impressed with how much the flavor and the style retains what I remember from that long ago. But I certainly, there are issues transporting those kinds of sandwiches. But it was good. It was very good, but it is giving me a big food coma because I don't normally eat like this anymore. So I was just like, But if you're in the area and you're local and you're watching this, check out Portillo's. I'm telling you, it's very, very good. If you're anywhere in the States, look up Portillo's. They might be spreading out to more than just Texas. It's worth the look. Johnny had pulled pork yesterday. Largo thinks shaved beef sounds naughty, but delicious, and that's true. Swig says, I love South Park so much, even if the quality upgrade isn't over the top. Get it just for the cool cover. Yeah, I get you, but that's where they get you. You like shiny things. You're a shiny things person, and I love you, and I totally understand. Like, if I didn't already have it on disc, I would probably be getting it, but we already have it, and the quality's not going to be that big of a jump. I have to maintain 5 collections, Swigs. Like 4 or 5 disparate collections. Not including, Lauren's. So I gotta make some choices, you know what I mean? Yes, sir. Yes. I think you will like it. Portillo's is very, very good. But like I said, it will give you the food coma, for sure. South pork. That's another term for barbecue, which Texas does great as well. So, loyalty to brands and so forth. What I'm talking about on the most basic level is loyalty to the properties themselves. Okay? Superpowers collection, so DC, Marvel, Masters of the Universe, Jurassic Park, Transformers, G.I. Joe, Action Force, old or new, different horror franchises, Indiana Jones, Ninja Turtles, the list goes on and on. Star Wars, Star Trek. You get the picture. For me, that's more important of a loyalty than, say, to a manufacturer or a toy line or an era of a toy line. And yes, Squigs, it is that new place over by Parks Mall. I believe that's where it is because it looked like when I ordered. So I think it's the only one. But yes, you want to check that out. But when you compare that to the manufacturers or the owners of some of these properties, like Hasbro, Mattel, which is basically it at this point, but also Kenner of old, Palitoy of old, any toy company, it doesn't matter. And yes, properties before companies, exactly. So I do find that some people really love a property, will just get everything from that property. So there's some Motu fans that got vintage, then got classics, then got origins, and now they're doing the Masterverse thing, and they're going full tilt. And I don't work that way personally. I don't begrudge anyone for doing that, but it's not for me. I much prefer to have one or a very few representations of characters that I love. Godzilla and Spider-Man will always get special treatment because how much I like them. So I have various scales and styles of product from them. Like I have a coffee mug and a plushie right in front of me. I've got a hand-stitched voodoo doll up there, Spidey over there. All those are Spidey. I got a 12-inch Titan. I've got the Mezco stuff. I've got Marvel Legends. I've got old Toy Biz Spider-Man all over the shop. But there are people that will like fixate on one character or just a small group of characters and get everything they can find of them. And I think that's definitely a loyalty to a property for sure. And then you have folks that are like, I just want this one version of the toy line. Okay? They gotta have vintage. And they're like, vintage or nothing. Right? Then, to me, it's like, well, if you're only doing vintage toys, is it about capturing the nostalgia? Or is it something else? Because if it's about the characters, you can get stuff modern that looks almost exactly the same or better that represents those characters for less money. So it's like, is that a loyalty thing? Or is that a fanaticism obsession with reclaiming childhood? You see what I'm saying? So it, like, people say, well, I'm loyal to the vintage and blah, blah, blah. And sure, there are people that they do collect strictly for the nostalgia of stuff that they wanted when they grew up and complete those collections. That makes perfect sense, and I understand that to a degree. But sometimes that kind of fanatical loyalty to that era turns around and bites people because they will mix and match like I do. Some modern, some vintage, everything in between. I just like what I like. And people will think I'm some kind of heretic because I'm not staying true to the toy line or whatever. And it's like, give me a break. Again, these are just toys. These are hobbies. And each person's collection is their collection. If I want to take all of these toys and throw them into a vat of hydrochloric acid, I can do that. If I want my dog to take a big giant poop over each and every character, I'm allowed to do that. That's my right. These are mine. These belong to me. But there are people that seem to have such an overinflated sense of ownership over the property or the era in which a specific item or items was created that it supersedes their loyalty to the actual character. I don't have nostalgia for Star Wars because I had a Kenner Bespin Luke in 1982. I have nostalgia for the character because Star Wars as a thing is really important to me. It changed my life. Changed all of our lives, those of us that were hit at the time. And I have a Bespin Luke behind me. He's a vintage collection Bespin Luke. I like it better than the vintage one. That doesn't make me less of a Star Wars fan, does it? Doesn't make me less loyal to those characters, does it? Of course not. So that's the kind of thing that I'm wanting to bring up today. Roman Cobra says, I'm loyal as long as the quality meets my expectations. I'm the same way. Whether we're talking about actual brands like Hasbro, Mattel, Portillo's, whatever, I stick with a company that I get good service from. But I also know that there's companies out there that have multiple operating arms. So like the disappointment of the Indiana Jones Adventure series is not going to prejudge, make me prejudiced to Black Series or to Marvel Legends. These all have their own teams that work on them. Giraffe, welcome to the show. Steven is only loyal to the almighty Megalon. I'm not surprised. I mean, you gotta go with where you go. Largo says, certain characters are collectible no matter the toy manufacturer. Mafex seems to do the best versions of key heroes and villains. I kind of agree. Mafex and Mezco are like neck and neck, but Mafex, those are next level toys. There's something about them. Jason Garcia says, damn, I feel targeted now. Because of the whole kaiju thing. For those of you who don't know, he has a ginormous kaiju collection. But I totally understand it. Johnny would buy Megalon for $1. And there's a Robocop reference there, but I don't have the energy to do the laugh right now. Giraffe says, love Motu with that Mattel logo, even though Mondo has got me a couple times. I'd like to have Hasbro Transformers, but third-party New Age feel better. Joe can't be anything but Hasbro for me. And I understand that. I go for what's best, for me, but I completely understand that how that association between the property and the brand can make a difference too. Worldmade Cardboard says, for me, I grew up on Godzilla and Doctor Who. I'm not a diehard on anything. I only have a few Godzilla toys, and my wife has more Doctor Who than I ever will have. There you go. There you go. Largo's Lair says, Underdog is not just a toy. It's a lifestyle choice. It's true. It's true. Pod Racing Palpatine is in the house. Hello. Welcome to the show. Now this is Pod Racing. Palpatine, nice to see you. Thank you for being here. Thank you very much for being here. I really appreciate it. Stephen S. says, that's the Magazine G fan, but I subscribe to that one that is M fan. That's fair, Yes. Ian Sweet says, I have no brand or property loyalty. I've chosen to focus on certain subsets of Star Wars as I need to strike a balance between interest and affordability. That's interesting, Ian. I think I would not have chosen those words, but I think that's exactly what I'm doing with Star Wars. Because I have a mix of Power of the Force 2, vintage collection, and like 1 or 2 true vintage figures, plus a very limited number of Black Series stuff for Star Wars. I know exactly what I want. And although that list is growing, I'm still like, I want to represent this stuff from Star Wars. Because just having them all just splayed out, like an autopsy of my childhood, does not appeal to me. But I understand why folks that do that do. I understand it. I just wouldn't have that much fun. I'm trying very hard to stay away from displays that look like a rank and file parade, because I want there to be an encouragement to interact with the toys. And I think that making sure that I'm not buying the most rarest of the rare figures is a way to help encourage that. And I hope I didn't get too far off your point, but I'm definitely there with you for sure. Michael Schaefer, sir, welcome. It's been a long time. Very happy to see you. I just acquired several pounds of Star Trek Playmates toys that I'm very happy to have. If Billy Whift is still in the house, I did pick up that open box sealed transporter as well. It's on the way. But Michael Schaefer says, brand loyalty. I immediately think of a cigarette brand loyalty and that lovely marketing. Need I say more? Hello, Jim and everyone. Live long and prosper yourself. But you're right. I think that people lean to the properties, they lean to the brands, and sometimes they mix it. And look, as long as you're not being an asshole to anyone else and you're not hurting yourself, do what you want. I totally understand. Okay? It's fine, right? But although I can comprehend, it's hard for me to empathize because I don't feel the same way. So I can't empathize with someone who is that big of a stickler for certain things. I am very particular about some stuff, but for whatever reason, when it comes to toys, I'm just not. And I thought it would be interesting to kind of just throw the word out, toss out the game board pieces, and see where the discussion fell today. All right. And like I said, very high probability we'll just do a whole round table next week. We'll plan for it so people can gather their arguments. We can get a few people who are scheduled to come if you guys would prefer that. I think there's something to discuss here. I really do. Lovers Lair says there must be balance in the Force. For you, it's Empire Strikes Back only. Fair enough. I started that way, and now it's like, it's getting a little nuts for me. But yes, when you collect Star Trek in pounds, and I guess the reason I said that is because it was a lot sale. Wilhelm came across this really well loved and packaged and labeled Star Trek Playmates lot, and at some point it came up how many pounds the box was, and when I did the unbox, it was like it was really heavy. So yeah, but so it's got a complete set of TNG in there, plus a lot of ancillary characters, a lot of DS9. It's pretty nice. I'm pretty happy. I've always wanted to start, but just like with many other 3 3/4 inch scale or 4 inch scale stuff, I was like, because there's so many things to get, But yes, in pounds. Weigh it. Give it to me. For sure. Jace Garcia is like, I'm super particular what goes in my mouth, too. There you go. There you go. Melvor says, I need more vintage Kenner Star Wars Come to the Dark Side. I don't see a reason that I should pay double or more for the same mold with less paint deco. Sorry. I don't see the point. ESP says, I like the populated playset as primary option. Exactly. That's what we're going for here. We're getting closer to that with the Star Wars stuff over here. Motu stuff's going to be like that soon. That's important to me. So that's more important than the other stuff. And, part of it is I'm collecting such a wide range of things. It's like, well, I can either put all my money into one toy line, or I can spread it out and get a bunch of everything that I really like. So that's a factor of it too, I think. Michael Saber says, Playmates. Never collected, then a good friend got me started once you go down that path. Yes. Which is part of why I ended up getting this particular lot, because it was like just about every figure that I could possibly think of that I would want off the top of my head. And then when I go through it and I display them, then it's going to go like, okay, I'm missing, 5 or 6 figures maybe that I really, really want. Like, I'll probably even get rid of some of these that I don't need. Friend of mine and I are talking about a Enterprise Bridge playset. Those of you on the show last week, Billy Wifter brought it up again during the member hangout this weekend. So we're going to work something out, because I got to have that bridge. And you populate that bridge, get a few other characters floating around. There's not a ton more that I need to mess with. That plus the transporter room, maybe the engineering bit, but that would be as far as I would go. For sure. Coach says, at this point in my collecting life, it's all about price, availability, space, and product quality. My loyalty is only to myself as a consumer. See, this is why it is wonderful and horrible to have Gojatron as a friend and a moderator and a collaborator. Because he boils down every argument to its most important parts. And I really appreciate that. But that's very similar to where I'm at too, because I go for what I really want, and I find a way to make the space work. I find a way to make the price work. But that's just how it is, I suppose. Michael Schaefer follows up, says, Playmate Star Trek figures for the most part are super affordable too. Haven't dipped into the playsets. So as an example, again, not to try and tempt you with the Apple or anything, there were several available in similar price points, but I got an open box but sealed in the baggy packaging, the transporter, for like $30 shipped with tax, which is not awful. The bridge you can get complete for around $100 in the box, maybe $200 depending upon where you're getting it from. So they're not awful, but not as bad as they like. These should be cheaper. The figures, you can get those for $2 all day long, carded, or $5 carded, I should say. They're out there for sure. Great great figures too, for what they are. Aside from the bow-legged crap, you know. Johnny Sorrell says, Generations Scotty can do no wrong. I do have a Scotty in that box, but it's from the TNG episode he was on with the, was it the Dyson Sphere he was on? So he's got like the black vest, and it basically just took him off the set of Star Trek V and put him in there. So, but I'm okay with that. It's pretty cool. And you got Old Man McCoy in there as well. So it's a whole thing. 100% agree. As long as you're collecting for yourself and not out of peer pressure, there's no wrong way to collect. I agree. And I think that also, Michael, is getting to the kind of the underlying issue that I'm trying to bring attention to, which is in the last 3 or 4 years with the pandemic and everything, so many more people have gone, you know, head over heels into this this collecting world, myself included. You know, when all of y'all first saw my name in chat, I don't think any of us thought that we'd be looking at this in three and a half years. It gets away from you, and there's a peer pressure that's like, hey, I know that you want this, but you're not going to buy it for yourself, kind of peer pressure, and they send that along. That I understand. But I think there's a peer pressure in, like, there's some kind of mob mentality. And Star Trek vintage, or Star Wars vintage collectors, Superpowers vintage collectors, and those two for sure, G.I. Joe to a lesser degree, they're really, really, really strict about, like, what the rules of collecting are, and it just drives me up a wall. Now, they can choose to follow their rules and be happy. It's when that judgment or that standard gets imposed on other people for no other reason than that's the way they feel. That's how it should go. I think that's when it becomes wrong. That's where some loyalties can get thrown right out the door, for sure. Worldman Corbett says, right now with money being so tight, I'm not adding to my collection. Have to let some things at a good price pass me by because I just can't right now. Daughter, her study abroad is more important. Totally understand. And it's a good thing to have. Relics. Yes. Dr. Pulaski, Scotty, you look familiar. Yeah, yes. Yes, there you go. That's perfect. Thank you for reminding me of that. I'll have to watch that. And he has a TNG tricorder and 2 phasers, 2 keychain sound effects. Nice. See, I remember when all that Star Trek stuff was available like crazy, and I took it very much for granted. And I think that's why I was so excited to get this Star Trek set, because it's not something you can just get anymore. Or you can, but you know, guys know what I'm saying. Pod Racing Palpatine says, it's like Friar Tuck from Princess of Thieves having a Gamorrean guard body. Perfect. Or they're like, they share the mold from on the bows from Green Arrow from Superpowers and shit like that. Ted Millich is in the house. Hi, buddy. Foyo, FOMO, Boyo, all of that. All of it. A fear of Jason missing out? Fair enough. Michael Schaefer says, any extreme orthodoxy is gross. Completely agree. Doesn't matter what the topic, Orthodox Star Wars collectors are to be avoided. I agree. I never heard that term before, though, but not going to steal it, but I'm going to, if I may, join the lease on that. Johnny says, Michael Schaefer's given that engine all he can, Jim, and he cannot take, all he can, Jim, cannot take no more. Fair. Fair. Ooh, I didn't know that Andy, like, had the uniform. I always wanted one, but they never ever made them in my size. Even when I was thin, I didn't think to get one. Maybe I'll eventually get one, you know. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But anyway, you know, with all these different standards, right? I think that there should be a call for people to really just encourage each other to do what they want to do. Instead of saying, here's how I do it, maybe you should try it like this. Ask people what they want out of their collection and then help them facilitate that. Now, granted, I've been very lucky in that the people that surround me have done exactly that, and that's why I have what I have. And I've been very forthright about the fact that I like a lot of things, but I'm focused on certain stuff. And if it weren't for the support of so many people, I would not have the stuff that I'm after. But all too often, you go to anywhere in social media, where it be YouTube, Facebook, X, formerly known as Twitter, Instagram, you're going to find some jerk-off trying to tell you how to do things. Drives me up a wall. Palpatine would love to pick up some cheap old next-gen ships, repaint them so much. If you're not looking for something that's to scale with figures, there's plenty from the Playmates line that are not expensive at all. You can get like good, like about this size for like, either a Constitution class or Bird of Prey. And I don't think they scale right together, but they look awesome. And they're really not that expensive at all. There's definitely model kits out there. They're out there for sure. Absolutely. I was not live and didn't realize it. Yeah, you forgot where you were for a second, didn't ya? Oh, goodness gracious. Okay. Ooh, Pod Racing Palpatine randomly picked up an ED-209 figure from RoboCop. Is it the old Kenner version, or is that a NECA one? Either way, cool stuff. It's definitely, something I'm after. Michael Schaefer says, people argue over what order to watch Star Wars and Trek in. It's ridiculous. Yes, exactly. And I think that sometimes, especially in this particular corner of the internet, we're very used to people being, we're all very cordial with each other. We're very friendly. We're supportive. We know how to debate points without taking it personally. So when I do see that extremism somewhere else, I'm just like, when I see that, if you will, orthodoxy, that really gets under my craw. I don't understand why people would be so snooty. Like, this is supposed to be fun. I've been saying this for almost 4 years now. All this shit is supposed to be fun, right? And when people take it so serious that all the fun gets removed, maybe you should consider stopping if you're not having fun. That's me, Johnny Sword says, I argue about what order to read Schaefer's comments. I mean, let's have at it, buddy. So, before I wrap up, I do want to say, I think that there's probably a larger discussion here, and I would like to have a panel do it, but next week for sure. Maybe I'll think of a way of expanding the topic a little bit more, but I do want to keep today's show a tight hour or less. So, again, those of you that are YouTube members or Patreon members, think about what you might want to say and be ready for next week for that. If you're not a YouTube member or a Patreon member, you can make that happen and be on the panel anytime you want, just so you know. Pod Racing Palpatine says it's from a company called Hiya Toys. Oh, yeah, I know Hiya Toys. That's a great ED-209. They have a bunch of RoboCop stuff. They do Alien and Predator all on the same scale. They're beautiful. It is a slippery slope. They're very nice figures. And yes, I can totally tell you're a huge Trek fan, by the way. I get you. Ian Sweet says, I really don't mind if people don't like or even hate stuff I like. What irritates me is how some people seek to belittle you for liking the things you like, especially in Star Wars. Yes. I agree with 100%. Because at the end of the day, it's not hurting anyone. As long as you're not hurting yourself or anyone else, if you like to do something in the privacy of your home, do it. That's it. That's all there is to it. Brent N with a wonderful point, and I love this question, and it's good to see you, my friend. Says, if you don't enjoy it anymore, is it even still a hobby? I love that. That is a great question. I would argue no. I would argue it has become a chore. But, you know. Jason Garcia has the Hiya Toys Ed 209 and Kane. Do you have the old man saying, behave yourselves? If not, why bother? Kidding, of course. I'm kidding, of course. So, yeah, I think that's going to be a good foundation for a big round table, because between the input of our new community members and some returning community members, I think there's a lot of things I hadn't really considered as angles for the discussion. You know, like if you don't enjoy it, it's considered a hobby. Love that. And I mean, honestly, Michael Schaefer, just the putting the word orthodox in front of Star Wars collectors, I'm like, first of all, that's a really easy way to explain that. And you can put that in front of any vintage toy line. I love that. You're very sharp. You know, you're good. You're good. You're good. So, Ian Sweeney says, it's a shame a few YouTubers I used to really enjoy have taken this attitude as well. Yeah. They're out there. You know, if I'm watching YouTube, whether I know the person or not, or I associate with the person or not, I'm there to have fun. I'm just there to have fun. You know, I want to have fun. I want to learn something maybe, but I don't want people to tell me how to live my life, which I feel like is kind of rich coming from me. But I guess my version of telling you what to do is to do what makes you feel good. You know, do what makes you happy in spite of everyone and everything else. Like that's kind of my thing. Johnny Torrance says, Knights of the Gym Table. They're very, very able. Almost getting into Monty Python there a little bit. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I know it's been in the dictionary all these years, and of course I know the word. I've just never heard it used in that phrase before. It's kind of like, all right, if someone never had mustard before, you give them mustard. Granted, of course, you didn't invent freaking mustard, but you know, you associate that memory with that person, you know. So no credit to be had, but appreciation to be given. And that's how I'm living my life today. Gojatron says, I always enjoy my hobby because I don't let the opinions of others affect my love of it. If you think Godzilla sucks, that's fine. You're obviously wrong, but it's fine. I don't know that I can, I can't end the show any better than that. If you think Godzilla sucks, that's fine. You're obviously wrong, but it's fine. Folks, we'll see you next week for TGL, where we're going to continue this discussion about brand loyalty and orthodox collecting. We'll see you next week. Take care. But before you go, click that link pinned at the top. Get yourself over to the Infinite playlist premiere for today for Largo's Lair and Wilhelm Toy and Hobby. Enjoy that show, and we will see you next week at the latest. You guys take care. I love you very much. I hope your card backs stay straight, all your grinds are merry, and you may be able to find anything you're looking for at any given time at a price you feel is reasonable. Take care, and have a great week, guys. Cheers.